Have you ever looked at a math equation and thought, this stuff must come from another universe? Well, you're not alone. Math can feel like it has a life of its own, almost like it's woven into the universe itself. Today, we're exploring how math, the language of patterns, numbers, and shapes, might hold clues that point us straight to the existence of God. That's right. We're going to use math to tackle one of life's biggest questions: does God exist? Some say science and math can explain everything, and that once we understand the how, we don't need to ask why. But today, we're flipping that idea on its head. We're not looking at math just to understand how the universe works, but to see if math has more to say, maybe even about a creator. Now, whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, there's something fascinating here for everyone. So hang tight and let's dive in. This isn't your usual math class. This is math with a mission. When we think about math, what comes to mind? Is it just numbers on a piece of paper, equations, or maybe painful memories of trying to understand algebra? But what if math is more than just numbers or a tool we use? What if math has an existence beyond what we can see and touch? Mathematicians will tell you that math isn't something we create like art or music. It's something we discover. The numbers, patterns, and relationships already exist. They're just waiting for us to find them. I think of math like buried treasure. It's hidden in the fabric of reality. And all we have to do is dig deep enough to uncover it. This brings us to an interesting thought. If math is something we're discovering and not inventing, where does it come from? If math feels so real, yet we can't see it or hold it, does that mean it has a source beyond our world? Let's consider the Bible's perspective. In Job chapter 38, verse 4, God asks, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation?" It's like God is saying, before you ever understood numbers, patterns, or laws of nature, I was here putting it all together. Could it be that math is part of that foundation? Maybe it's even written into the fabric of creation itself. Let's talk about one of math's most mysterious and mind-bending concepts: infinity. It's a word we throw around: infinite possibilities, infinite patience, but in math, infinity is the real deal. You see it in the never-ending digits of pi, or in the endless line of numbers from 0 to infinity. Infinity is strange because it never stops, never runs out. And no matter how far you go, there's always more. Here's a fun example. Take the number pi. Pi starts with 3.14159 and just keeps going. People have calculated millions of its decimal places, and it's still going, revealing more of itself the deeper we dive. Imagine each of those digits like steps on a staircase that goes on forever. How could something infinite exist in a finite universe? Infinity in math gives us a glimpse of eternity, an idea that's at the very heart of God's nature. In Psalm chapter 90, verse 2, we read, "From everlasting to everlasting, you are God." Just as we can't fully grasp the end of pi, we can't fully grasp God's infinite nature. Infinity in math and God's infinite nature are both beyond human understanding, but they remind us that there's more out there than we can measure. I think of infinity like an endless ocean. We can swim in it, explore it, and try to understand its depth, but we'll never see the whole thing. In the same way, if math shows us anything, it's that there are things in existence like God that are boundless and immeasurable. Now, let's talk about something truly mind-bending: the Mandelbrot set. It's a mathematical shape with a very simple formula, yet when you graph it, it reveals patterns that seem to go on forever. The Mandelbrot set isn't just a shape, it's a window into infinite complexity. If you've never heard of it before, buckle up, because this little shape might just blow your mind. Ever felt like you're just a tiny speck in a massive universe? Well, looking at the Mandelbrot set can make you feel exactly like that. Imagine zooming in on a shape, expecting it to end somewhere. But with the Mandelbrot set, every time you zoom in, you just find more shapes, more patterns, and new levels of complexity. It's almost like the universe itself, revealing new wonders each time you look closer. This kind of infinite detail is something we see in creation itself. Think about the intricate design of a leaf, or the structure of a snowflake. Even the stars scattered across galaxies seem to follow patterns and laws. Romans chapter 1, verse 20 tells us, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made." Just like the Mandelbrot set, creation reveals infinite complexity and order, hinting at a designer with infinite wisdom. As we zoom into the Mandelbrot set, we see copies of the same shape popping up again and again. You might zoom into one area and find tiny elephants marching in a pattern, or in another area, you'll see spirals twisting infinitely. But here's the kicker: these patterns weren't created by anyone. No human drew them, they just exist. It's like finding hidden artwork in the universe of numbers. Imagine discovering something so intricate, yet so perfectly organized without any human involvement. The Mandelbrot set doesn't just show us infinity, it gives us a glimpse of what an infinite mind might create. And if this exists in the realm of math, what kind of infinite mind might exist beyond it? Let's step back a bit and ask ourselves, what does math actually do? Math explains it describes the movement of planets, the way sound waves travel, and even the structure of our DNA. In fact, everything in the physical universe seems to follow mathematical laws. It's as if math is the language the universe speaks. Imagine we're out in space, floating next to a planet. How does it stay in orbit? Math has the answer, explaining the gravitational pull that keeps it in place. The same math that describes the orbit of a planet also describes the path of a comet, the structure of an atom, and even the rhythms of your heartbeat. Math is everywhere, linking everything together. If math can explain everything from the tiniest particle to the largest galaxy, then it's fair to ask who set up these rules. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 19 says, "By wisdom, the Lord laid the earth's foundations." If God used wisdom to create, then math could very well be part of that wisdom. Math doesn't just happen by accident. Just like a book requires an author, a universe with mathematical order points to a designer. I think of the universe like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Every piece fits perfectly with the others, and math is the key that makes it all work together. Now, if the puzzle fits so well, who designed it? The pieces don't just fall into place by themselves. They need someone to arrange them. In this case, math could be the signature of the creator, the one who set the pieces in place. One of the most amazing things about math is that it's consistent. No matter where you go, 2, 2 will always equal 4. This is true here on Earth, on Mars, or in any other galaxy. Math doesn't change based on opinion, preference, or location. It's like an anchor in an ever-changing world. So here's a question. If math is true everywhere and for everyone, could it be that truth itself has a source beyond human minds? The Bible often speaks of God as the embodiment of truth. In John chapter 14, verse 6, Jesus says, "I am the way and the truth." Just as math is a constant, maybe truth itself points to a constant God. Math is like a ruler that never changes. If someone told you they measured a foot and got 13 inches, you'd know they measured wrong. Math doesn't bend or shift based on our ideas. It just is. In the same way, if there's a moral or spiritual truth, maybe it's just as fixed as math, something outside of ourselves that we discover, not create. Let's talk about two of the most basic numbers in existence, 0 and 1. They might seem small and unimportant, but these numbers form the foundation of all computing, science, and even life itself. In the digital world, every image, song, and video boils down to zeros and ones. It's like everything we create on computers is built from just these two numbers. 0 represents nothing, while 1 represents something. Together, they cover the full range of existence. Either something or there's nothing. This binary code, the language of zeros and ones, is the framework for everything digital. It's simple yet incredibly powerful, like the building blocks of an infinite structure. Think of 0 and 1 as the on and off switch of reality. Imagine every possible thing you can see, touch, or hear, all coming from combinations of on or off. It's almost like the universe itself has an underlying code, a set of instructions. And if there's a code, then someone must have written it. The Bible describes God as the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Revelation chapter 22, verse 13. 0 and 1 might not be the beginning and end, but they cover everything in between in the digital realm. It's a small reflection of the idea that God is the ultimate beginning and end, the one who compasses all things. Isn't it fascinating that with just two simple numbers we can create worlds within worlds? If something as simple as 0 and 1 can give rise to such complexity, imagine what a being of infinite complexity could create. Maybe, just maybe, these numbers are a reminder of something greater, something beyond ourselves. If you've ever seen a sunflower, you've witnessed a pattern. The seeds form a spiral that follows a very specific mathematical rule known as the Fibonacci sequence. This sequence isn't just in sunflowers, it's in pine cones, shells, even galaxies. Nature seems to love patterns as if it's trying to tell us something. Patterns like the Fibonacci sequence show up so often that they almost feel intentional, like nature is designed to be beautiful and orderly. But why? Why should nature follow mathematical patterns? This isn't random, it's something that points to an underlying order. If there's an order, then logically there could be an organizer. In 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33, it says, "For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." The order we see in nature, from the spiral of galaxies to the symmetry of snowflakes, could be a reflection of God's orderly nature. It's as if God used math as a template to bring structure and beauty into the world. Imagine walking into a beautifully organized room, everything is in its place, perfectly aligned. You'd assume someone set it up, right? The universe is like that. The patterns in nature are so precise and so consistent that they suggest intention, design, and purpose. It's as if we're walking into a room carefully arranged by the Creator himself. Prime numbers are a strange phenomenon. A prime number can only be divided by itself in one, like 2, 3, 5, 7, and so on. They don't follow any obvious pattern, yet they are absolutely essential in mathematics. Primes are the building blocks of numbers. They're unpredictable, yet they hold everything together. The Bible, too, is full of numbers, and some scholars believe that certain numbers carry special significance. For example, the number 7 often represents completeness, like the 7 days of creation, and 3 symbolizes unity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Prime numbers, with their mystery and uniqueness, remind us that some things are intentionally beyond our understanding. I think of prime numbers like pieces in a secret code. They're essential, but we can't predict when they'll show up. They keep mathematicians guessing, almost as if they're hiding on purpose. In the same way, there are mysteries about God and the universe that keep us searching, thinking, and learning. In Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8-9, God says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways." Prime numbers and their mysterious and elusive nature are a tiny glimpse into the idea that some things are simply beyond us. They hint at a wisdom greater than human logic, one that invites us to trust in something greater than ourselves. Fractals are shapes that repeat patterns at every scale. No matter how much you zoom in, you'll see the same shape repeating. The Mandelbrot set is a famous example, but fractals also appear in nature, in mountains, trees, and even our blood vessels. This kind of complexity emerging from simplicity is something extraordinary. What's amazing about fractals is that they follow a simple rule, but they create endless complexity. It's like starting with one simple idea and building an entire universe from it. This small to infinite concept resonates with the idea of God taking something small like a word or a breath and creating an entire cosmos. In Genesis, God speaks, "Let there be light," and from that single command, the entire universe springs into existence. Fractals remind us of this concept that an infinite, intricate universe can emerge from a single source. It's a small echo of God's ability to create vast complexity from a single act. When you look at a tree, think of all the fractals at work, from its branches down to the veins in each leaf. It's like a living blueprint of infinite design. Fractals show us that complexity doesn't require chaos, it requires a plan. And if something as complex as a fractal can emerge from a simple rule, imagine what an infinite creator can do. We've covered a lot of ground: patterns in nature, the infinite complexity of fractals, the mystery of prime numbers, and the surprising power of 0 and 1. Each of these mathematical ideas hints at something bigger, something beyond us. Math isn't just a tool. It's a language, a blueprint that the universe seems to follow. And if there's a blueprint, there's probably a blueprint maker. Psalm chapter 19, verse 1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands." Math is one of those signs, a fingerprint left behind by the Creator. From the smallest atom to the farthest galaxy, math holds it all together, revealing order, purpose, and design. So next time you see a simple number, a spiral in a sunflower, or the structure of a crystal, take a moment. Maybe math is more than just numbers and equations. Maybe it's a glimpse into the mind of God, a reminder that we're part of something far greater than we can imagine. And remember, if math can be this amazing, who knows what else there is to discover about the one who created it all. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of math and the mysteries it unveils about the universe and about God. We hope this video sparked wonder and curiosity in you, just as it did for us. If you enjoyed exploring the beauty and complexity of creation through math, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our future videos. Like this video, share it with your friends and family, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below, what amazed you the most or what you'd like to see next. Your support means the world, and together we can continue discovering the wonder in every little equation.